The Vikings have the greatest defensive playbook in Madden history, so if you're not using it right now, you're almost certainly losing games that you should be winning. Luckily for you, in this video, I'm giving you the complete guide to the Minnesota Vikings defensive playbook with the best blitzes, coverages, and red zone setups. They're going to have you locking down every single game that you play. If you're tired of playing trash on defense and finally want to learn a scheme that's capable of locking down anyone you play against, this is going to be the perfect video for you, so don't skip out on anything I have for you today. Let's jump right into it. The first thing I want to break down, because it's really the foundation of great defense, is actually the best defensive settings to use. And there's some ones that you might not have heard of yet. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so if we pause the game here, we come into options, we come into settings. This is what I'm talking about, where you might not have heard of this setting, right? Because it's kind of hidden right here. But you're going to scroll down into your gameplay helpers, and you're going to find defensive heat seeker assist. And you want to make sure that you have your window set to at least 100%. So 100% or higher, right? Just trying to get a good feel for you personally of what you like yours at, how you can, make dive tackles in the backfield. I'm going to tell you more about this setting later in the video, so make sure you stick around why it's important. But it is really important that you actually have that one turned on. But if we come to our coaching adjustments now, by pressing the right stick in on defense, we're going to come into our alignment settings. These are very critical and something that a lot of people miss out on, right? You want to make sure that you've auto flip defensive play turned on. If you turn it off, you can flip your play. Now, it doesn't mean as much when you're in dime or dollar because you have two slot corners, but this setting basically controls which side your slot corner comes out on. And so when you have it turned off, you could guess wrong. And when you guess wrong with your slot corner, that's going to be a huge detriment to your defense. Like right here, where it's like I have my slot corner now on the wrong side. Well, he's on the right side, but he's actually like trying to guard across the field for some reason, right? And so if they were to, motion Jacobs over, right, put him on that, like it actually caused him to come back over here, but it's like now he's just following Jacobs, right? And so if they were to that corner, we just have a curl route, right? That's where my slot corner is supposed to be. Right, number 7. He's supposed to be right there, but because I have auto flip turned off, my defense is misaligned and just kind of completely messed up. And sometimes you would never even be able to recognize that unless you looked at your play art, right? And so that's why obviously it's really important to look at your play art. But even if you did see your play art there, you would have to move him back manually, which slows up your entire defense. So make sure that you have this turned on. And then cornerback matchups and defensive motion response, both of these settings are very similar, but you want to make sure this is on balance. And then this one is on disabled. The reason why is because for cornerback matchups, if you said that Christian Watson is their fastest receiver, and let's just say this defender is my fastest DB, what can happen is when the offense no huddles, these guys try to crisscross and try to match up with whatever you have it set to. So if you had it by speed, right, these guys would just crisscross and they could be matched up across the field. Now, sometimes it's going to be worse than other times, right, because, especially if your safeties crisscross, then obviously you're just going to give up one-play touchdowns. But it's like the only way that you would ever be able to defend this or make up for this is calling a timeout or simply just making sure that you have the setting on balance. But you do not want your defenders to crisscross when they're in zone coverage, because the reality is they're not switching assignments. They're going to try to play those same assignments but do it from across the field. And so you're just going to be really late guarding that, and it's going to be an easy touchdown over the top, giving up easy touchdowns. So you absolutely cannot have any of those settings turned on. Even defense and motion response, you can't allow these guys to, motion over. Like you can't allow this guy to basically motion over and then it resets your whole defense. Like for example, right here, where if this guy comes out right now, there's only one defender on that side, and it's just going to make your overall defense a lot worse. Now the sideline's going to be even more open, and so they can just hit you with slot fades over the top, for easy yards. So making sure that you have your alignment settings correct on defense is going to make your overall defense just that much better. You're able to see just like right here where, just terrible defense because this man's all the way across the field because he followed him. Right, you follow him across the field. So you don't want that to happen. So to make sure that your alignment is correct on defense, auto flip on, defensive motion response disabled, and then cornerback matchups on balance. And now you have the right defensive settings before we jump into any of the blitzes or coverages. Because now that you have the right settings turned on, let me show you a great glitch blitz here from this Vikings playbook that's going to allow you to get instant sacks. Let me show you. Alright, so we're going to come into Mike Blitz 0 here from Nickel through 3 Cub, and this is going to be one of the best overload blitzes in the game because we're going to shift our defensive line to the left right here. We're going to drop our outside linebacker into a curl flat, and we're going to make sure that we're pressing the D-pad to the right to D-pad switch stick, alright? It's very important that you understand that you need to stand in the correct spot, right? It's a game of inches, and standing a yard over, like standing here or standing here, could absolutely mess up this blitz and not allow for it to work as well as it should, because this could allow you to run into the guard instead of running into the center, which is the guy that you actually need to run into in order for this to work. So when you stand right here, you're going to, when you D-pad switch stick off, now you're going to get onto your curl flat just like that, and so that's what's going to allow for you to have a 4-on-3 advantage time and time again on the left side to go get the quarterback down in a hurry. So again, boom, they take the snap, we D-pad switch over here to this man, and it's very important that you get back into coverage. You don't want to stay, clicked onto him because you don't want to user rush. You just want to be able to get back over here, get into coverage, and then take away, this pass, or excuse me, to get this quick pressure over here. But you see what happens when you get the attention of the center. I mean, it's 4 guys against 3, and because you dropped this man out as well, now they go to double team him. So essentially, it's still 5-on-5, but they're double teaming for no reason because they don't have adequate pass protection to be able to pick this up. This is one that you can go to time and time again. I've gotten multiple sacks every single game I use this in my CFM. So, it's very easy because it's not even like they know what's coming. Like, it's just like, it's kind of crazy. They can't really, prepare for this. And even I've tried to use pass protection against this. It's not exactly the easiest to block. You can also have the freedom of running zone coverage behind this blitz. So if you want to get good with quick adjustments, you can do something like this where you have a cover 2, or you could set up like a cover 3, right? Maybe something like this as well if you want to close off the middle of the field. But regardless of if you're running man or zone, you need to make sure that this D-pad switch stick is solid and it's correct. So you're able to see how now, if you're going to run zone though, you have to make sure that you're getting back over the middle of the field, with your user in case they like sneak the running back out of the backfield on that route. So maybe you might want to put him in a vert hook instead of a curl flat. That'll help you be over the middle of the field sooner, right? So boom, take it, D-pad switch, and I'm right here to take that away, and then we get that instant pressure. So it's really about adjusting to a lot of what the offense is going to do to maybe counter this blitz, which another one of their counters might be simply blocking their running back. And the reality when they block their running back is that you're going to get your edge rusher, your defensive end or outside linebacker, to get a one-on-one against a running back. And a lot of the time, he's just going to be able to run right through him. Now, if you know that they're blocking the running back, also put this man into a hook curl just like this. And that's going to allow you to press D-pad up instead of D-pad right. And so now you'll actually be over the middle of the field to take away more routes and just have a better user overall. So again, shift the D-line left, stand in the correct spot with your user, press RB, right stick up to pass commit your defense, and now you're going to press D-pad up, run to the center, 43 runs into Josh Jacobs, and yet we're easily able to take that away. So whether they block the running back, they don't block the running back, it's really not going to be the end of the world. It's really not going to matter because we're just going to have, just an easy, completion right here to just easily sack the quarterback while, again, being back over the middle of the field to lurk around with our user. So this is one of the best glitch blitzes, overload blitzes in the game, whether they're blocking the running back or not, just making sure that you're, setting it up correctly and then your D-pad switch sticking in order to take away some of their routes down the field. Alright, so if you found any of those first 2 tips here from the Vikings playbook helpful, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I break down Madden 26 tips and tricks every single day to help you guys get better, and you don't want to miss out on any of the content that I have. But if you want my full Vikings defensive ebook with the best blitzes, coverages, red zone defense, and its full write-up with videos and screenshots to help you out, go to the link down below in the pinned comment. You can grab it today by using code YouTube to get 20% off. I guarantee to transform the way you play defense, and I can't wait to help you out. Let's jump right back into the video. Because next I want to break down corner route defense here from this Vikings playbook, because if you can't stop corner routes or you're struggling versus them at all, people are just going to spam them all game and your defense is going to be way worse. So let me show you the best defense to absolutely shut down those corner routes. Alright, so we're going to come here into nickel 3-3 odd. We're going to come to our coaching adjustments, and we're going to make sure that we have our flats curl flats and hooks all on default here, right? So default, and then we're going to come into a cover 6, or the cover 6 play right here. And what you're going to notice is this is a cover 4 on one side, a cover 2 on the other side. And so really what makes this so unique is that we are going to set up, you know, a corner out concept like this. I mean, they can call a flood concept. All right, this is one of the best coverage, or excuse me, the best route concepts against zone coverage in the game. And so now what you're just going to notice is, I mean, it's just going to be shut down. I don't even have to do anything with my controller. I can just stand in the middle with my user, and we're just going to be able to easily shut that down over there on the left side. So we'll look at the replay right here. Boom, running back out of the backfield. Same thing over here. Boom, we're able to take away the shriek in the corner route, really with only 2 guys, and absolutely lock it down. So, I mean, like, very, very easy, very simple defense. You know, really doesn't require you to do a whole lot. Even if they try to do the same thing to the other side, maybe they motion over their running back, you know, call something like this, you're still going to be able to do a great job of actually shutting this down, simply because your matching defenders are going to be able to pass the routes off beautifully, and then you're able to see how that linebacker out there is able to take away that corner route. So it's really just about pattern recognition, right? It's about, you know, having good players with play recognition, zone coverage, man coverage, and then you're easily just going to be able to lock down a lot of their routes. Now, if they change it up, right, they can change up who's on the corner route, they can change up things of that nature, and so that's why I wouldn't necessarily recommend you actually put your controller down on defense, right, even if you know they're calling a corner route, still being ready to switch stick in case your guys match on these routes late in the play, because that can make it a little bit worse. So you're able to see I'm able to switch stick here, and then we're able to take everything away with that corner out. I was really just switch sticking to make sure that my linebacker was able to get out there. So you can really just take everything away. Boom, easily take this corner out away. Boom, this out route's going to be, you know, taken away underneath. And then the shriek is obviously going to get guarded by this deep half right here. So really being able to stop, I mean, this really isn't just corner routes. This can work against crossing routes, a lot of different routes, you know, that an offense would like to call, and a lot of their kind of go-to routes. But, you know, flood concepts, some of the most annoying routes in the game to stop, and the most annoying route concepts, but yeah, we're basically sitting on it to knock the underneath pass away, and then be able to shut the corner out down on the deep sideline, right? Very, very easy defense. Again, make sure you have all 3 zone drop depths on default for this to work correctly, because if not, then the coverage isn't going to play. It's just going to play like regular drop zone. So cover 4 on one side, cover 2 on the other, and you're not going to be able to match and latch on these routes down the field, which is really the whole point of the coverage. But very, very easy defense. You're able to see, shut down the corner out, shut down the out route. No one's going to be open. Cover 6, all 3 zone drop depths on default, and corner routes are absolutely done for. But before I jump to those final 2 plays here from this Vikings playbook that you're absolutely not going to want to miss, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I'm the only one right now breaking down Madden 26 tips and tricks every single day for you guys, so this is really the best channel to check out. So what are you thinking? Go down below, hit that subscribe button, and let's jump into those final 2 plays. Which next I'm going to show you the best way to stop the most meta and toxic and annoying run here in this game from halfback direct snap. Let me show you. Alright, so this is why defensive heat seeker assist that I told you in the first segment of this video is so important. So we're going to come into halfback direct snap here. We're going to come to Mike Blitz 0, and we are going to, in order to stop this, because as we know, this is one of the most annoying runs in the game. Obviously, they can just get downhill, and, you know, a lot of the time get to the second level of the defense and turn that into a pretty big gain. But how we're going to stop this is we're going to shift our defensive line towards the running back. So if they were to flip this play, we would shift our D-line left. Here in this case, we're going to shift our D-line right, and you're basically trying to stand right here. Pick a good spot, lab it up, kind of find your spot. You're always going to be 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, but you know exactly the precise spot you stand, whether it's in between the center and the guard or the tackle and the guard. Kind of just depends on how, you know, your lab work kind of goes here. I would recommend standing right about here in between the center and the guard, but we're going to take this snap, and basically you're just trying to loop around, and you see how when you loop around, that gap is going to be wide open for you to dive tackle the ball carrier, because they now have the ability to speed boost because their handoff is so fast, right? Where there's no handoff, it's just a direct snap. They're getting the ball so fast, so they have the opportunity to maybe speed boost out here to the edge, which is why every second and every millisecond counts for you on defense as far as tackling. That's why the dive tackle is so important, because if I were to set it up the same way, shift my defensive line to the right, take the snap, and I come up here and then try to conservative tackle, to be honest, I mean, I'm holding two controllers here, but if that's a user player, he's speed boosting out of there if he knows how to do the move. So in order to make it as good as possible, you want to make sure that you're dive tackling. And again, the best way to do that is by having that heat seeker assist setting with your window set to at least 100%, having that turned on in your gameplay helpers. But you're just able to see how we go with it time and time again. That gap is going to be there, and you're going to press X on Xbox or square on PlayStation to be able to dive tackle that man really as fast as possible and prevent him from being able to speed boost away. This is the best run here, most toxic run here in this game. It's very easy to kind of abuse, whether you're playing MUT, Regs, Franchise mode, but when you know it's coming and you have the defense for it with the gap shoot, it's going to be absolutely obsolete, and they're going to have nowhere to run. So, I mean, I could continue to go through it every single time and just shoot that gap, dive tackle that ball carrier. But also, here's the thing. The reality is people are going to switch it up, where they're going to see that you've now stopped this direct snap run time and time again because you have the gap shoot for it. So now they're going to try to trick you and run inside zone. But the reality is, if we look at the offensive play art, there's a flame icon over the head of Van Ginkel, the edge rusher, which means if he blitzes, which he is, he's going to come in clean. So you can really set up the same direct snap defense and also stop their counter, which is going to be inside zone, going the other way, because I'm still going to loop around with my user, but now they're going the other way. But the reality is, I still have a guy there to go end up making that tackle and make that play in the backfield. So it really doesn't matter whether they call direct snap or maybe they change it up and they go with inside zone going the other way. As long as you shift your defensive line towards the running back side, you stand 4 yards over the in between the guard and the center. It's not going to matter if they want to go inside zone or direct snap. And you can also see how you can even click onto that man still and then dive tackle him so that he doesn't have the opportunity to speed boost away or get into a tackle battle with you. But one of the most toxic runs in the game, this is really going to help you out when you're playing online, when you're playing against those players who love direct snap, because it doesn't matter if they call direct snap or they go to the direct snap counter, which is going to be inside zone. Simply calling this play, Mike with 0, shifting your D-line towards the running back, is going to be able to shut down not only direct snap, prevent them from speed boosting, but also shut down inside zone, the counter. All right, but the reality is, if you can't hold the door at the goal line, it's really not going to matter what you're doing on defense. Let me show you the best red zone defense to be able to stop quarterback sneaks and all goal line runs. All right, so the reality is you have to be able to stop people on the goal line. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the best job of that. We're going to come into goal line 5-3, and we're going to scroll over until we find the speed package. All right, so we're going to adjust our packages here with the right stick until we find speed. This is going to get your fastest defensive lineman on the field. And so what we're going to do is we're going to call gaps B. All right, gaps B is going to be our play call. And so what we're going to do is just pinch our defensive line, right? Pinch our defensive line and come stand right here in between the guard and the center right here, because now what's going to happen is I'm just going to push the quarterback, Caleb Williams, whoever's in that spot, I'm going to push him down every time. You notice how if I don't pinch my defensive line and I don't stand in that spot, there's now a lane for them to take, right? Now, sometimes you're just going to be able to tackle him anyway, but you still see how that's a touchdown, right? That's a great example of if you don't make any adjustments to it, excuse me, it's just going to be, it can be a touchdown. Again, there's going to be times where he still tackles him, but the difference is now the D-line's pinched. There's no hole for him to fall into and then push his way into the end zone. So, and that was from 2 yards out. That's really bad to give up a quarterback sneak from the 2-yard line, but it doesn't really matter because I'm going to push him down before he can go anywhere. He's always going to basically lose yards when you stand in that correct spot with your user defender and then just push him to the ground. So again, pinch the defensive line from goal line 5-3, calling gaps B. You're going to pinch your D-line. You're going to stand directly right here in this spot, and then you're just pushing Caleb Williams to the ground every single time in order to be able to stop that, right? Very, very easy. Now, if they flip their play, because here's the reality, they're going to see you standing in this spot, they're going to try to outsmart you, flip their play, because now they can go to the other side, which sometimes, like you see how right there, he still picks up a yard, right? So if that ball's at the 1, that's probably a touchdown. So you have to counter that. So they're going to flip their play. But the truth is, whichever side that outside tight end is on, or I guess in this case, this is the offensive lineman, whichever side he's on, that's the side they're running to. So they've now flipped their play. So you need to flip sides with them. So what you're going to do, just stand right here in this gap now, making sure you're not off sides. The blue line's going to tell you that. But now it's going to be the same thing where you're going to push the quarterback down, in the backfield every single time, simply because you're standing in the correct spot with your user and you're not allowing him to go anywhere. This also works great against not just quarterback sneak, but if they go power O, you notice how there's two flame icons over the head of these guys, which means they're either going to sack the quarterback entirely or tackle that ball carrier as soon as he touches the ball, and that's a loss of 5 yards. When you're this close to the end zone, that's one of your worst fears, is losing that many yards on a simple run play, but we're able to blow it up in the backfield, and that's the reason why it doesn't work. Same thing with fullback dive, my defensive tackle, we just create a wall basically in the middle, and there's going to be nowhere for them to go. So that's really the most important thing, excuse me, when you're in the red zone on defense, is stopping the run and forcing them to actually pass the ball, or call RPOs. You have to be able to stop the easy stuff where they don't really have to turn their brain on, make any reads, and stopping quarterback sneak is as simple as, repositioning and just making sure that you're able to push that quarterback to the ground immediately and making sure that he has nowhere to go, again, by just standing in the correct spot and then just pushing him to the ground. No yards gained, or they're going to lose a whole bunch of yards. So stopping the run in the red zone on the goal line, very important. That's exactly how you do it here from this Vikings playbook. Alright, so if you found that complete guide helpful to the Vikings playbook in Madden 26, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I break down Madden 26 tips and tricks, give you guys free ebooks every single day, and you don't want to miss out on any of the content that I have. But again, if you want my full Vikings defensive ebook, which goes to the full videos, screenshots, write-ups, breakdowns, everything I'm doing right now to dominate from this playbook, go to the link down below in the pinned comment to grab it today by using code YouTube to get 20% off. I guarantee it'll transform the way you're able to play defense, and I can't wait to help you out even further. But if you want to see my offensive ebook here for my brand new Buccaneers ebook, check out this video right here. I'll see you over there. Peace.